On the news tonight, President Buhari pledges to support Libya, top peace against country. Vice President Yemi Oshibaji urges Nigerians to join hands together to defeat terrorism in the country. Residents of Abeokuta groan over scarcity of pipe-borne water. Hello and thanks for joining 12 News. I am Abdulsemi. Now the news. Nigeria has pledged continued support to the troubled African nation of Libya in its quest towards regaining and sustaining peace, security, and political stability. President Muhammadu Buhari, who makes the pledge while granting audience to the head of Libya's government of national accord, Faiz al-Sarraj, on the margin of the AU summit in Niamey, Niger Republic. State House correspondent Adam Musambo now reports.
It was the first formal interaction between President Muhammadu Buhari and the head of Libya's government of national accord that centered on issues of common interest between Nigeria and Libya, especially recent developments in the North African country. Presently, there are over 6,000 Nigerians stranded in Libya after unsuccessful attempts to make it to Europe. President Buhari attributed the humanitarian crisis to terrorism and insurgency, as well as the drying up of Lake Chad, which affected the livelihoods of over 30 million people depending on the lake for farming, fishing, and animal husbandry. Nigeria, he said, will do its very best in supporting efforts at stabilizing Libya. The head of Libya's government of national accord had told the president that there were a lot of deaths and injuries in his country, but his government is determined to put an end to the situation. Al-Sarraj declared that Libya contributed a lot to the establishment and survival of the African Union, and therefore it is now time for Africa to reciprocate. At a separate audience with the United Nations Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohammed, President Buhari stressed the role the international community needs to play in recharging the lake, as the financial cost is beyond the scope of the affected countries. The president decried the menace of terrorism in the Sahel countries, noting that the instability in Libya has been a negative force on the Sahel. On her part, the Deputy Secretary General told the president that the growing security challenges in Africa are adversely affecting growth and undermining the attainment of sustainable development goals. The Deputy Secretary General congratulated President Buhari for signing the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement at the AU Summit, saying the entire world was waiting for Nigeria. Issues relating to the drying up also dominated discussions when President Buhari played host to the President of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina. We have to make sure that we create livelihoods all across the Lake Chad Basin area. We have to revive the livelihoods. We have to make sure that we reduce the shocks that people are having, and that we have more resilient communities in those areas. And I am fully committed to that, because you cannot integrate fragile societies. You can only integrate resilient societies and their communities. President Buhari also engaged the Vice President of the Islamic Development Bank, Nigeria's Mansour Mukhtar, during which he commended the bank for ongoing interventions in agriculture, trade and investment, rural development, and food security in Nigeria, saying the country will appreciate more support in other critical sectors. From Niamey, Republic of Niger, Adam Musambo, NTA News.
The 12th extraordinary session of the African Union in Niamey, Niger Republic, has come and gone, but its memories will continue to linger in the minds of participants for a very long time. One of such remarkable moments in history was the signing of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement by President Muhammadu Buhari, giving hope and impetus to the realization of one African market. State House correspondent Adam Musambo now reports.
Supreme Court ruling, which affirmed his victory in the September 2018 state governorship election. This Supreme Court decision, according to the president, lays to rest the tussle over the governorship election and removes all encumbrances on the path of the governor from fully delivering the gains of democracy to the people of the state. In a statement by the special advisor,
the People's Democratic Party and its candidate witnesses before the presidential election petition court. The first witness is Buba Galadima, who adopted his statement on oath, which he disposed to on the 18th of March 2019. During cross-examination by the counsel to the respondent, Usman Ustaz San for INEC, Wale Olanipekun San for President Muhammadu Buhari, and Latif Fagbemi San asked Buba Galadima why he supported President Buhari in previous election and wanted to establish that the witness fell out with the second respondent as a result of the fact that President Buhari did not make him a minister. This Buba Galadima denied. Another witness, Peter Obi, was employed by INEC as a registration area technician. During cross-examination, Obi did not even know the second respondent that his statement was replying to. So far, the petitioners have tendered documents concerning 11 states. The states are Niger, Yobe, Katsina, Kebbi, Borno, Jigawa, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, and Zamfara states. The documents tendered are forms ECBC, ECBB, and ECBA, as well as the receipt for the certification of the documents. Counsel to the Independent National Electoral Commission, Ustaz Usman San, and APC Latif Fagbemi objected to the admissibility of the document tendered. Counsel to the respondents received reasons for their objection to their written final addresses. National Chairman of the APC, Adams Oshiomhole, and Tom Ikimi of the PDP were in court. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has formally resumed duty following his reappointment by President Muhammadu Buhari with a vow to redouble efforts to achieve the next level agenda. The 19th Group Managing Director of the NNPC, Melekolo Gyari, has assumed office with a resolve to make the corporation a global health company in line with best practices. Correspondent Lydia Sampson reports that the new GMD also vowed to continue to fight against corruption initiated by his predecessor.
Welcomed as a milestone to open up vast potentials in creating job opportunities and serving as a stepping stone to full industrial and manufacturing development within the continent while adopting a single currency. This is expected to boost economies as it begins to rely more on local goods, services, and commodities in and around Africa. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria highlighted the other advantages which come with the signing. These include investment potentials, local alternatives to exported products, and revenue generation.
Our service sector is a very fairly strong service sector. We are very competitive in services, and the service sector is almost 50 trillion naira economy, and I think it portends a lot of advantage.
Economic integration has two things in theory and in practice. First one is trade creation. You are creating.
President Muhammadu Buhari has signed the African Countries Free Trade Agreement, which will enable member countries within the African continent to trade freely among one another. This agreement is expected to usher in complete monetary and fiscal policy harmonization while also encouraging growth within African countries. Abdulkarim Mohammed Jamil has the report.
The agreement has been welcomed as a milestone to open up vast potentials in creating job opportunities and serving as a stepping stone to full industrial and manufacturing development within the continent while adopting a single currency. This is expected to boost economies as it begins to rely more on local goods, services, and commodities in and around Africa. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria highlighted the other advantages which come with the signing. These include investment potentials, local alternatives to exported products, and revenue generation.
Our service sector is a fairly strong service sector. We are very competitive in services, and the service sector is almost 50 trillion naira economy, and I think it portends a lot of advantage.
Economic integration has two things in theory and in practice. First one is trade creation. You are creating trade among the contracting parties, higher level of trade.
They did, however, agree that there are many obstacles to be overcome from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement area before any country begins to reap the benefits. Obstacles like building strong manufacturing sectors, large-scale investments, and cultivation of better bilateral relations between countries in the continent.
Our economies are dependent on imports, because today everybody in the world is eating not raw materials but manufactured goods. And if we don't manufacture, it means we have to rely on others.
And what is the future of manufacturing, industrialization? And what is the future of job creation, employment? What is the future of wealth creation? And of course, all of us know in this country how many jobs that the oil sector, the crude oil sector has created. Almost zero.
Experts say expectations are high, but if executed properly, it would open doors to greater stability for various economies and give rise to major growth in Africa. In Abuja, Abdulkarim Muhammad Zuni, NTA News.
Insufficient supply of pipe-borne water in Abeokuta, the state capital, has continued to be a source of concern to residents, especially food vendors. Akinjima went around the capital city to monitor how people struggle on a daily basis to get the essential commodity and brought back the situation report in this package presented from us today.
Water has no enemy. So goes the song of the popular Afrobeat legendary musician Nta Abeokuta. People depend on water for their daily survival, either for domestic use or commercial use. Survey conducted by National Bureau of Statistics in conjunction with UNICEF indicates that 71% of Nigerians do not have access to clean, potable water. The statistics further indicate that only about 20% Nigerians have access to pipe-borne water in urban areas, despite the fact that there are at least a river in almost all the 36 states of the Federation. It is, however, disturbing their experiences while trying to source for water on a daily basis.
If you want to drink, everything borders on water. And basically, if there is no water, there is no life.
Residents of Abeokuta are either at the mercy of rainwater or of philanthropy boreholes and provide water for the people free of charge.
People go about well water, rainwater, which are not hygienic, so to say. And if you look at this, if people paraventure, they have to go about taking tap water, taking well water and rainwater, you will see that there will be a lot of diseases.
Well, in my own estate where I live, yes, there is a pipe, but for almost about 15 years I've been in the estate, I've not seen the pipe running for just a second. I only live on buying waters and taking waters from boreholes in my neighborhood.
Meanwhile, effort to get the comments of concerned authorities on the matter proved abortive, as the State Ministry of Special Duties is yet to get a substantive commissioner.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has enjoined Nigerians, regardless of faith and ethnicity, to join hands together to defeat the menace of terrorism and other forms of insecurity in the country. The Vice President stated this at a book launch titled its 88th birthday celebration in honor of former Governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba in Lagos. For Abiodun has support for cooperative society to enhance their entrepreneurial potential so as to empower more residents of Ogun State. The governor stated this while addressing members of various cooperative society at the Nta Abeokuta International Stadium in Abeokuta. Correspondent Looking at the first report is presented in this package.
The governor of Ogun State, Nta Abeokuta, who expressed the state government's readiness to partner the cooperative society towards successful building of the state together, described the society as a vehicle of driving socio-economic growth in the society. He added that the cooperative society has been a unique organization which has collectively empowered its members collectively in realizing their economic aspirations through self-help and empowerment programs. He informed that records show that 12,000 cooperative societies exist in the state, and their contributions to the socio-cultural and economic growth of the state cannot be overemphasized, especially in the area of employment, job creation, wealth creation, and improved agricultural productivity.
Now, entertainment news. Superstar singer D'banj and wife Lumio Didi Kilgore shares memorable moments on vacation. For details and more on entertainment news, let's join Basira Akireti.
On excellent news, a much-loved Nigerian entertainer has stirred up emotions on his social media page after telling his followers the visuals of a memorable moment he shared with his dearly beloved actor, Lumio Didi Kilgore. In the videos, the two appeared to have taken some time away from the public eye to enjoy some private and memorable moments together. In the shared video, the singer D'banj could be spotted taking his hands off the wheel of the car while his wife quickly cautioned him to quit the rough play. Reacting to the post, some followers were spotted gushing in the comment section. One said, "When the Coco Master falls in love, you know say water don't pass Gary. Wow, love is beautiful. These are my favorite couples." Meanwhile, there has been intrusive tales of events at the Big Brother Naija house following the eviction of Islomo and Avala from the BB Naija house. Nigerians have shared their views. Some have stated that they fear for the ladies to be evicted just after using a week in the house. One of the housemates on the 2019 edition of the show, who seems to have raised the hopes of many Nigerians in social media, is popular Instagram celebrity Tasha. And that's all NTA Entertainment News. I am Basira Akireti.
Of the Nigerian Super Eagles against the indomitable Lions of Cameroon in the second round of the CAF Nations Cup tournament, where the Eagles came back to defeat the Lions 3-2. Football-loving Nigerians are optimistic that Eagles has all it takes to win the trophy for the first time. While assessing the team's performance against Cameroon, respondents were of the opinion that this was the best performance seen from the Eagles in recent times.
I will rate them high, and because they beat my imagination. Because judging from the previous matches they played before coming to round 16, the performance was a little bit below expectation. So, though not that all hope was lost, but I was thinking that Cameroon will overrun them most when they are the defending champion. But God was on our side. Our second half, they were able to dominate, and the performance was outstanding yesterday. First of all, I want to congratulate Nigerians for winning the defending champion. It's a plus for us. We tried. We had to see it. We see it to our defending needs to, and our keeper also need to buckle up, because I believe we can win that game. Now that Cameroon is not there, the Egypt, they are not there again. Even the Morocco, well, that shows that Africa, we are talented.
I think they deserve our commendation for that magnificent comeback, and also considering the fact that they defeated the cup holders, the Cameroon. They played very well, and they deserve our commendation for that. But I think there is still a room for improvement. considering yesterday's match. I don't know why Chukwueze cannot start, and we'll try to include the coach that they should start Chukwueze for the next match. And also, I think there's a problem for our defense, considering the fact that we considered like 2 goals within 3 minutes for yesterday's match. That is not so good enough, and that gives signal that our defense needs to.
Now to our sports desk for more sports updates.
The 2019 Africa Cup of Nations continues to birth upsets as the Barriers of Madagascar became one of the latest teams to book a place in the quarterfinals of the tournament after a 4-2 win in penalty shootout over the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Madagascar, who finished top of Group B, wasted no time in registering a goal after just 8 minutes. But they were silenced in the 20th minute through Cedric Bakambu's equalizer. The Barriers were close to finishing with a 2-1 victory after team skipper Vaneva Andreatsina scored what looked like a game winner, but a 90th minute header by Chancellor Mbemba drew both teams level. After failing to score in extra time, 2 missed penalties from the DR Congo side was all the Madagascar needed to make it to the next round.
Goal here, Mambus! Lassie! It's gone over the bar! Madagascar are through!
In the second fixture of the day, the Desert Foxes of Algeria secured a quarter-final spot after a 3-0 triumph of the Sili National of Guinea. The Foxes opened scoring in the 24th minute through Mohamed Belaili before Riyad Mahrez dazzled his way past the defence to make it 2. Guinea looked to overturn the 2-goal deficit, but their hopes were dashed once Adam Unas slotted in a third in the 82nd minute.
This is Caxal getting a ball across the chance. Oh, it's going to seem to be another goal, and there it is.
In France, the United States won the Women's World Cup for the 4th time as they eventually overpowered the Netherlands in Lyon. Megan Rapinoe's penalty and Rose Laver's fine run finish gave the defending champions victory in the second half after a resilient first half defending from the Dutch. Veteran winger Rapinoe's calmly slotted opener came from a spot kick awarded after a video assistant referee review at the end of a tournament in which the system has been a major talking point. Victory for the USA saw their English-born boss Jill Ellis from Hampshire become the first coach to lift the trophy twice.
Opening up, Rose Lavelle, lovely run, great goal! Brilliant goal! For the 4th time, the United States of America are crowned champions of the world, and for the very first time they've done it on European soil. It is finished at the Stade de Lyon in the final.
The remains of late Chief Mrs. Janet Abeokuta has been laid to rest with a call on Christians to have the fear of the sovereigns embedded in eternal death and live the life of a saint. Venerable Benjamin Nta of the African Church Cathedral of St. James, Nta Abeokuta made the call during a special church service done in honor of the deceased, fondly called Iyalode. Correspondent Mohammed Adibwale has details.
Sweet, the scripture says, is in memory of the righteous. It was a gathering of family members, friends of the Akintoyes, Ikumapais, and other well-wishers who converged on the auditorium of the African Church Cathedral of St. James, Nta Abeokuta, to give their last respect to the deceased Chief Janet Akintoye, whom many described as a reliable source of courage in their lives. Venerable Benjamin Omolade, in a short exhortation, admonished children of the deceased and other family members not to be depressed over the demise of their beloved mother, but rather find solace in the fact that Mama went home to rest in the bosom of her Creator. The clergyman enjoined the congregation to take a cue from the way Mama lived her life as a devoted servant of Jehovah God and reflect on their ways of life if it conform with the way of God.
We are rejoicing today because Mama had Jesus Christ as our personal Savior. When you have Jesus, you have everything. Both heaven and earth, you have it. Because there's no other way than Jesus.
It was a solemn service as the remains of late Nta Abeokuta was interred at the African Church Cemetery in Nta Abeokuta, where the Akintoyes and friends bid Mama Ajim final farewell. At the reception, late Chief Mrs. Janet Ajim was described as a true symbol of motherhood and will be missed by her.
Honestly, I will miss her so much. She's so kind and she's my prayer warrior. She takes my matter to God every time. My joy is that the way people are talking about her makes me to thank God that I came to this world through her.
My grandmother was a very nice person. She loved God and she loved His word. I'm going to miss her discipline, her caring nature. I'm going to miss her love, her advice.
She's always straight. She taught me so much that when life threw a curveball at me, when the going was tough, after I got married, it was that training that she gave to me that time that made me to be able to stand tall, strong.
Chief Mrs. Janet Ajim Akintoye, a career teacher, was born on 3rd February 1943 and died on 23rd of May 2019 at the age of 76 years. Nta Abeokuta, Mohammed Adebowale, Nta News.
And that brings our package for tonight to an end. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for a fresh comprehensive package. I am Abusala Pedro Adeyemi. Thanks for staying tuned. Goodbye.
Aláṣẹ Muhammadu Buhari ṣe ìlérí pé orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà yóò ran ilẹ̀ Libya láti ṣàwárí ògo rẹ̀ padà. Àwọn olùgbé ìlú Abẹ́òkúta kígbàjarè lórí àìsí omi ẹ̀rọ. Àkùdédé àsìkò yìí ìrònú ilé sí etí ìgbọ̀nyìn láti lè ṣàgbọ́nmáwòrán ìjọba àpapọ̀ ti Abẹ́òkúta. Mohammed Adébọ̀wálé ní oníròyìn ìròyìn lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́. Orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ti ṣe ìlérí láti ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún orílẹ̀-èdè Libya àti ìlàkàkà rẹ̀ láti rí àlàáfíà, ètò ààbò àti ètò òṣèlú tó gbépọn padà sí orílẹ̀-èdè náà àti láti di gbogbo ìdàgbàsókè rẹ̀ ṣinṣin. Aláṣẹ Muhammadu Buhari ṣe ìlérí yìí bí ó ti gba àlejò lórí ìjọba Libya látàrí àbájáde àpérò ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà tó wáyé ní ilẹ̀ Dahomey lórílẹ̀-èdè Niger Republic. Akọ̀ròyìn wa Adamu Samuel já bọ̀rọ̀ wípé aláṣẹ ṣàlàyé pé orílẹ̀-èdè Libya kó ipa tó jọjú nínú ìdásílẹ̀ àjọ àpapọ̀ ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ nítorí ìdí èyí ilẹ̀ Áfíríkà náà gbọ́dọ̀ gbárùkù tì wọ́n lákòókò tí wọ́n nílò ìrànlọ́wọ́ ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀. Olórí orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà wá ṣe ìlérí láti sa agbára rẹ̀ láti ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ tó péye. Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn Ọmọọba Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún ti fi ìlérí rẹ̀ múlẹ̀ sí láti ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájàṣẹ́kù láti mú ìdàgbàsókè bá ìdásílẹ̀ okòwò kéréje àti láti túbọ̀ mú àwọn èèyàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn lágbára sí i. Gómìnà sọ èyí bí ó ti ń bá àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájàṣẹ́kù sọ̀rọ̀ ní pápá ìṣeré Gúúsùdù Abíọ́lá tí wọ́n àdàgbé púpọ̀ ní ìlú Abẹ́òkúta. Akọ̀ròyìn wa nípònà Adéfẹ̀sọ̀ ló bá wà níbẹ̀ ẹgbọ́n tó gbúbọ̀ síwájú sí i.
Gómìnà ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún ni ó sọ ọ́ di mímọ̀ wípé ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ni ó ti ṣetán láti ṣe ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájẹṣẹ́kù ní ìpínlẹ̀ ọ̀hún kí kí ìdàgbàsókè lè bá dé bá ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn lápapọ̀. Gẹ́gẹ́ bó ti sọ, ó ṣe àpèjúwe àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájẹṣẹ́kù gẹ́gẹ́ bí èyí tí a lè fi tukọ̀ ètò ọrọ̀ ajé agbègbè. Ó fi kún wípé àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájẹṣẹ́kù òdì wọn ní ètò àti àlàkalẹ̀ léyìí tí ó lè mú kí ìrónilágbára dé bá àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ wọn, léyìí tí ó tún wá fi sọ wípé àwọn àlàkalẹ̀ ìdàgbàsókè kọ̀ọ̀kan tí ìjọba bá fẹ́ ṣe ni wọ́n lè ṣe àmúlò àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájẹṣẹ́kù láti fi tukọ̀ rẹ̀. Ó wá sọ síwájú sí wípé bíi 12,000 ni àwọn ẹgbẹ́ alájẹṣẹ́kù tí wọ́n ti ní ìforúkọsílẹ̀ wọn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn, tó sì jẹ́ wípé ipa tí wọ́n kó nínú ìdàgbàsókè ètò ọrọ̀ ajé ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ni ò ṣe fọwọ́ sẹ́yìn rárá àti rárá, pàápàá nípa ìgbà ẹni síṣẹ́ àti ìpèsè iṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú ìdàgbàsókè ètò ọ̀gbìn ní ìpínlẹ̀.
Akọ̀wé àgbà pátá sí ìjọba àpapọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí, ìyẹn ọ̀gbẹ́ni Boss Mustapha, ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ pẹrẹu lónìí látàrí bí aláṣẹ Muhammadu Buhari ti yàn án padà sípò. Ó ṣèlérí láti tẹpá mọ́ iṣẹ́ láti rí pé ìjọba aláṣẹ Muhammadu Buhari ṣe àmúṣe àfojúsùn ìpele rere tó kàn. Ìjọba rẹ̀ akọ̀wé wa Nta tó wà níbi tí nígbà tí akọ̀wé ìjọba náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ní ìròyìn bọ̀ wípé ọ̀gbẹ́ni Boss Mustapha ti gbáradì fi iṣẹ́ ìjọba. Tó káàkiri ìlú Abẹ́òkúta ti ṣe ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn ti di ẹ̀fọ́rí fún àwọn olùgbé ìlú, pàápàá jùlọ àwọn olóúnjẹ. Akọ̀ròyìn wa kí Jímọ̀ tó lọ káàkiri àbí ìlú láti lọ wo bí àwọn olùgbé ti rí omi lò jábọ̀rì ẹ̀gbọ́n tó múbọ̀ síwájú sí i.
Omi ò lọ́tà gẹ́gẹ́ bí gbajúgbajà olórin Afrobeat ìgbàanì ṣe sọ, ìyẹn Fẹlá Aníkúlápó. Ọ̀pọ̀ ènìyàn ni wọ́n nílò omi, yálà fún lílò nínú ilé tàbí fún ṣíṣe ọrọ̀ ajé wọn. Àgbéjáde àyẹ̀wò kan tí àjọ tí ó ṣàyẹ̀wò ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà pẹ̀lú àjọ UNICEF gbé jáde ló fi ìdí ẹ̀ múlẹ̀ pé àwọn ènìyàn tí wọ́n tó 51% ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ni wọn kò ní àǹfààní sí omi tó mọ́ ní agbègbè wọn. Bákan náà ni àgbéjáde èsì náà tún sọ wípé àwọn ìdá 20 ní orílẹ̀-èdè yìí nìkan ni wọ́n ní àǹfààní sí omi ẹ̀rọ tí ó mọ́ ní àwọn agbègbè ọ̀làjú, bí ó lè jẹ́ wípé gbogbo àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ 44 tó wà ní orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà ni wọ́n ní odò. Ó wá jẹ́ ohun tí ó ń kọmi lóminú bí ohun tó ṣe pàtàkì yìí kò ṣe fi bẹ́ẹ̀ wà fún àwọn ènìyàn fún lílò ní ìlú Abẹ́òkúta tí í ṣe olú ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn. Àwọn ènìyàn tí wọ́n bá ikọ̀ ìròyìn iléeṣẹ́ Nta Abeokuta sọ̀rọ̀ sọ ohun tí ojú wọn máa ń rí tí wọ́n fẹ́ lo omi ní ojoojúmọ́ ní ìlú Abẹ́òkúta.
Oníṣòwò fún wa gbọ́n bíbá gbọ́n gidi ní àrò mi lò ní ìjọwọ́ níyà tó lè bá sí a máa sáré lọ sọ ike sẹ́yìn ọ̀ṣọ̀rọ̀ tó ta lè rómi pọn tó lè rómi lò. Omi dẹ̀ wà ìpọ́sáǹtì sáwọn èèyàn láti lò. A máa ń lọ láti òkè ṣòkòrì lọ sí ṣòkòrì. A máa fi máa ń gbé ẹ̀zú lọ sí báwo.
Láti bí oṣù kan láti ní omi gbẹ̀yìn, mo lọ fi ọ̀kadà pọn omi lójoojúmọ́ ní ìgbà náà kò sómi rárá àmọ́ tó dé. Àmọ́ àrẹ oníwọ̀n báyìí nù omi kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ gbogbo láti ẹ̀rọ ó sì àṣẹbẹ̀rẹ̀ sí máa lómi rárá ni.
Àwọn olùgbé Abẹ́òkúta wọn máa dúró de kí òjò rọ̀ kí wọ́n tó rí omi lò, tàbí tí ẹnìkan bá gbé kọ̀ǹgádẹ̀rẹ̀ ládùúgbò wọn tí ó sì ń fún wọn lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́. Akitiyan láti bá àwọn iléeṣẹ́ tí ọ̀rọ̀ kan sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ìpèníjà yìí ní ó bọ́ sí pàbó látàrí bí iléeṣẹ́ tí ó rí sí irúfẹ́ ìpèníjà báyìí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ògùn kò ṣe tí ì gba ọ̀gá àgbà tuntun lẹ́yìn àyípadà ìṣèjọba.
Bí ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, ìyẹn ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Super Eagles ti fakọyọ nínú ìfẹsẹ̀wọnsẹ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn akẹgbẹ́ wọn láti orílẹ̀-èdè Cameroon pẹ̀lú àmì ayò 3-2. Àwọn tí ó bá ikọ̀ ìròyìn iléeṣẹ́ Nta Abeokuta sọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n tún jẹ́ olólùfẹ́ eré bọ́ọ̀lù aláfẹsẹ̀gbá sọ wípé ní ìṣe àfihàn rẹ̀ pé ẹgbẹ́ agbábọ́ọ̀lù Super Eagles yóò mókè nínú ìdíje náà tí ó lọ lọ́wọ́ ní orílẹ̀-èdè Egypt. Wọ́n wá rọ ẹgbẹ́ náà àti akọ́nimọ̀ọ́gbá wọn láti ṣe gbogbo tó yẹ kí wọ́n lè mú ẹ̀rí wá sí ẹnu àwọn ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà. Wọ́n ti sin òkú olóògbé Janet Akintoye ní ìlànà Kìrìsìtẹ́nì pẹ̀lú ìpèpè kí àwọn Kìrìsìtẹ́nì láti ní ìbẹ̀rù ìjìyà ikú ayérayé. Nítorí ìdí èyí wọ́n ké sí wọn láti máa gbé ìgbésí ayé lódodo. Venerable ti ìjọ African Church Cathedral nílùú Abẹ́òkúta Venerable Benjamin Ọ̀bọ̀nadé ló pe ìpè yìí níbi ètò ìsìnkú olóògbé náà tí gbogbo ènìyàn pè ní ìyálòde akọ̀wé wa tí ó wà níbi tí ètò náà ti wáyé ẹ̀gbọ́n tí ó gbọ́dọ̀ síwájú sí i.
Dídùn ni ìrántí olódodo gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìwé mímọ́ Bíbélì ṣe sọ, ó jẹ́ ìpéjọpọ̀ àwọn mọ̀lẹ́bí ará ọ̀rẹ́ mọ̀lẹ́bí Akíntóyè àti Kúmọ́pẹ̀ yìí pẹ̀lú àwọn alábàáṣe tí wọ́n péjú pésẹ̀ sí ìjọ African Church Cathedral ti St James tó wà ní Ìdí-àpẹ̀ Àgbóòkú nílùú Abẹ́òkúta láti wá ṣe ẹ̀yẹ ìkẹyìn fún olóògbé olóyè Janet Àjíún Akíntóyè, ẹni tí gbogbo ènìyàn ṣe àpèjúwe rẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí òpó kan tí ó máa ń ṣàlátìlẹ́yìn fún àwọn ènìyàn agbègbè rẹ̀. Nínú ọ̀rọ̀ ìyànjú ni Venerable Benjamin Ọ̀nàládé tí rọ gbogbo àwọn ọmọ olóògbé àti mọ̀lẹ́bí rẹ̀ láti má ṣe mikàn àbí banújẹ́, ṣùgbọ́n kí wọ́n ní ìgbàgbọ́ wípé màmá wọn lọ sinmi ní láyà olùgbàlà. Olùṣọ́àgùntàn náà tún tẹ̀síwájú nínú ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀, ó rọ gbogbo àwọn ìjọ tó wà níkàlẹ̀ láti kọ́ṣe rere ìgbé ayé màmá tí ó fi ara rẹ̀ jì fún ìsìn Ọlọ́run ọba, kí wọ́n sì wo ìgbé ayé ti ara wọn gan pàápàá wípé ṣe ń lọ ní ìbámu pẹ̀lú bí Ọlọ́run ṣe fẹ́. Ó jẹ́ àkókò fún ìsìn ìrònúpìwàdà lásìkò tí wọ́n sin màmá ní ìtẹ́ ti ìjọ Áfíríkà tó wà ní Ìdí-àbà ní ìlú Abẹ́òkúta, níbi tí mọ̀lẹ́bí Akíntóyè àti àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ ti kí màmá wípé ó dìgbò ṣe fún ìgbà ìkẹyìn. Níbi ayẹyẹ rẹ̀ jẹ́wọ̀mú ní ọ̀pọ̀ ti ṣe àpèjúwe olóògbé Janet Àjíún gẹ́gẹ́ bí àmì ìyá rere tí àwọn yóò mọ rírì rẹ̀ lẹ́yìn tó ti papòdà láwùjọ.
Abíamọ tòótọ́, abíamọ tí kì í fọ̀rọ̀ ọmọ ṣeré, abíamọ tó máa gbé ọmọ lọ sí church tó lè máa fi ọmọ yẹn tó máa fún fọ́lọ́run pé Ọlọ́run ọmọ yìí ọmọ fẹ́ kó sí títí láyé.
Wọ́n jẹ́ akíkanjú, wọ́n kó èèyàn mọ́ra, wọ́n jẹ́ ni tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n mọ bó ṣe ń tọ́yàn sọ́nà, tó jẹ́ pé ó ò ní ṣìnà. Èèyàn lè jẹ́ èèyàn kan tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n fẹ́ ire ọmọ gbogbo ẹni tó wà ládùúgbò wọn, gbogbo kò bá jẹ́ ẹbí ni àtẹ́ntí wọn mọ̀ rí, wọ́n fẹ́ ìlọsíwájú ẹni yẹn. Abíamọ tó ń dúró tọmọ lọ́jọ́ ìṣòro.
Olóyè Àjíún Janet Akíntóyè tí ó jẹ́ olùkọ́ni onígbà ayé rẹ̀ ní a bí ní ọjọ́ 3 oṣù kejì ọdún 1943 tí ó sì kíayé pé ó dìgbà ṣe ní ọjọ́ 23 oṣù karùn-ún.
tó àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn wa fún àsìkò yìí pẹ̀lú jù báyìí lọ, ìpàdé wa nígbà míì fún àkójọpọ̀ ìròyìn lọ́tún. Ó dìgbà láyọ̀ náà pàdé. Lọ́kọ́jọ́ ìgbèjà yìí, ẹ̀yìn ìwáyé nìyí gbígbọ́ Sun Television Hall Gàndó ètò Abẹ́òkúta wọ́n yan tó wẹ̀ Lawrence Gàndóní. Nàìjíríà kò dókàgbé lábẹ́sí dẹ́nìkan bẹ́tò àlọ́gbọ́n náà àyítẹ̀yìn nígbà Áfíríkà tó fi ìgbà kíṣà tó rí dọ̀tẹ̀ ẹnì ètò ẹnì Libya tó tagbájíjẹ ni nàdọ́mọdọ́mọ́ ẹ̀vọ́ Yorùbá gbọ́ngbọ́n náà jọ ni lọ́sílẹ̀sọ́ àlọ́sọ́dọ́
otohodidọtọpo ayitega Muhammadu Buhari uedokpagbolo woni etoro òpin àtòkòdébàsí Libya yitega ene fires Sarraj to òpin deheye basitene to niani to Niger Republic witọn heti to asanpa itendatome Adamu Sambo kẹrin gbọdọ ayitega Muhammadu Buhari lórí àtìtẹ̀gbọdọ Libya lọ sún wàsí vẹ́kúvẹ́kú bó sọ́sẹ́ àsúkàfọ̀ gbọ́gbọ̀n ògbẹ́ hẹsìn nígbà lọ́dún pọ́pọ́ rẹ̀ tán dàlẹ́ lọ sí ọ̀sùn lọ́tọ̀ fífi èyí mọ̀ nkọ̀tàn lẹ́yìn wàtò jùjọ èkó jẹ́ àgbègbè sọ́lẹ́sì dandan bọ̀ ògbẹ́ lọ́lọ́ sún pé àyítẹ̀ ìpínlẹ̀ fún nímọ̀dọ̀ yìí gbọ́ọ̀lọ̀ ná àyítẹ̀ lọ pé ìpàgbèdédékò lọ àyítẹ̀ nítan Nàìjíríà ná gbọ́ọ̀lọ̀ mọ̀ nkọ̀tàn ná Libya ìjọ̀nù nágbèfọ́ ògàdùgbọ̀ rẹ̀ tó filẹ̀. òpin lórí àwòtán ògbé àyítẹ̀mẹ̀ yìgbà Áfíríkà lẹ́tọ̀ kẹwàá ìmẹ̀tò ní Niger Republic kò wá bọ̀sọ́ èyí ṣùgbọ́n òun hẹ̀bà sí òpàpẹ̀lú mọ̀ọ́mẹ́ ẹjọ́ tó òpin àdúgbò lọ́tẹ̀mẹ̀lẹ̀ nágbèsì gbẹ̀nùkàn dókò wíwá ìmẹ̀tò gbígbọ̀kànmẹ̀ ìbá sí òpin lọ́lọ́ ẹ̀ tọ́mẹ̀ náà kò ṣoṣo bòpótò òmùmù kọ̀lẹ́mẹ̀ wọ́n yí àlọ́ yédè òwúmọ̀mẹ̀ náà jọ̀wọ́ àdókò àyítẹ̀mẹ̀ nígbà Áfíríkà lọ́yẹ̀ tó àyítẹ̀gbà mẹ́tọ̀ Muhammadu Buhari bà sí sọ́tò ìhẹ̀nù kúmẹ̀ dídó wádọ̀mọ́ àyítẹ̀ títòmọ̀ nígbà Áfíríkà lẹ̀ láti bó dìbò tó dìfì nàdókò àjọwà ẹ̀yìn náà so wọ́n máa ti dé òtàgbà jíjẹ pépépé nìtọ́ Adamu Sambo wọ́n ti tó fílẹ̀ gbogbo ọ̀dọ̀ fẹ́rẹ̀ tó lè sọ̀hẹ̀ gbígbọ́ ètò bọ̀. obìnrin mọ́tẹ̀ gan-an Ahọ́bídàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún kò fọ́ àrùn ètò tó rí ya nàdó gbọ́ àlọ́ lókọ̀tún náà òbí àlọ́ sí dókọ́ bó wà jọ́lẹ̀ tó tó àyí mọ́tẹ̀ nẹ̀ náà èyí ẹ̀sùn lọ́dọ́ tó sì náà tó àpẹ́sàn lókọ̀tún gbọ́ àlọ́ sí òun mẹ́lẹ́jì kó àjọ fúnfún rẹ̀ ìwàlẹ̀ kó lọ́sùlọ́sùn bẹ̀tọ́ tó mẹ́rin lẹ́tọ̀ ògùn mọ́tẹ̀mẹ̀ àyí mọ́tẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ hó ìhòòhò ètò gbọ́dọ̀ ògbẹ́ bí ògbẹ́ àlọ́sì ìgbẹ́kọ́dọ̀ wà jọ òun mẹ́lẹ́tọ̀ èyí bá sí àyájìjẹ lọ́tọ̀ ìgbàgbéhù dàtẹ̀dàhó MKO Abiola tọ̀mẹ̀ ètìtò òtògbó Abẹ́òkúta tọ̀mẹ̀ nìyí tọ̀mítọ̀ Lukman Adéfẹ̀sọ̀ ètìtò fúnlẹ̀ ìrìnàjò lọ ògbẹ́ àlọ́sì ìgbẹ́kọ́ ló wà jọ́lẹ̀ tó mú mẹ́ wẹ́sùn tó ìgbàgbéhù dàtẹ̀lọ́ fóònù kan tó ìgbẹ́lẹ̀ tó kún fíhe ìgbẹ́bílẹ̀ lọ́sọ̀rọ̀sọ̀ gbé lórí ìrìàtì lọ òpàgbé lóǹkọ̀tọ̀ náà sọ yí òǹtayà hẹ́plámẹ̀ ní náírà ìkànnì nábẹ́ plan lọ́sọ̀ tó àjọ fúnfún rẹ̀ wíwà fún àyímátẹ̀gán Abíọ́dún gba àkọlùmẹ̀tàn fún wa ní pẹ́tò fífi ìsáwó tí ètò sẹ́pẹ́rọ́rí nàbẹ́mọ̀dọ̀ àfọ̀gẹ́gẹ́ àdúgbòlẹ̀ bí wọ́n yìí sì ṣe gbogbo àlọ́mọ́ òkọ̀tọ̀ náà òpẹ́ lọ́lẹ̀ ìkànnì nábẹ́ plan àjọ fún tó ètò ìfúnfúnlẹ̀ fótó àyímátẹ̀mẹ̀. òwe kan tó dé àkọlùdò àyítẹ̀tọ̀ Bose Mustapha kò gbé àṣọ àpò kò dé fọ́hẹ̀ àyítẹ̀gbà Muhammadu Buhari fọ́ẹ̀dì dé òpẹ̀lọ́mẹ̀ pé ìpàgbé dídókò nàdọ́mọdọ̀ ẹni fóòhù dídọ́ dọ́mọ̀tẹ̀hẹ̀ tọ́pọ̀dàgbò tó tètò òtẹ̀ àdúgbò ìdàtọ̀ òwe tọ̀wé tó hẹ̀ lónìjọ́ bọ̀ òwe kan tọ́lọ owó ẹ̀kọ́ bí àṣọ tètè lè òní àyítẹ̀gbà tó fọ́ẹ̀dì tó òpẹ̀lọ́mẹ̀ bọ̀ àṣọ kò sọ gbẹ́ mọ́kọ̀tọ̀ ó sì gbàgbé hematotiti náà sì sẹ́ gbẹ̀tọ́ tó mẹ́nu lẹ́ẹ̀tọ́ tó Abẹ́òkúta ìbá sí òtútà àyímọ́tẹ̀ ògùntàn kò sì gbọ́dọ̀ kan gbọ́dọ̀ ní òun ètò ìtàgé ẹ̀pẹ́ tòṣùtòṣì lọ́sọ̀ọ́sọ ní ètò ìdúdú sálẹ̀ tó ètò gbẹ́rẹ̀. ètò sísá ìlú mẹ́sà ó ní ìdè ìtọ́nìtàn Akeem Dino ìgbàpẹ̀gbọ̀ ètò gbẹ́rẹ̀ ìlú kọ̀tọ̀kọ́ nàdọ́mọdọ́mọ́ ìmọ̀ òun sísá àdúgbò lẹ́yìn
bùsọ̀ hẹ̀ nínú gbọ̀ gbẹ̀tọ́lọ́lẹ̀ wẹ̀tọ̀ àpágbébó kọ̀tọ̀ tó ti fi wíwọ́ àhọ́lù kó àsọ̀páhẹ̀ òhóhù rẹ̀ kó nàbọ̀mọ̀dọ̀ àfọ̀hẹ̀dì àdúgbò lẹ́yìn ṣiṣẹ́ lọ́hẹ̀rù síndàgbẹ̀tì náà sì ń sá tòṣótòṣì tó he ẹnásọ́ndì kéè náà yìnyín ní ìlú ẹ̀dùn náà jìjọ pé èmi dàgbélẹ́dìbà sí pé yóò wúlò lẹ́dọ̀ òsì gbígbí pé bò tòmẹtòmẹ lọ́sí ọ̀sọ́ òsì ìmọ̀nyọ́lẹ̀ sì ń hẹ̀ àwòtò pé àgbẹ̀tọ́ pọ́lì bùkàwá dápá irú àkọ́rọ̀gbò nàgbẹ̀dàrí yàwó sí àfọ̀kejì àdúgbò náà òsì nílé tìtò kìjọ́mẹ̀ náà sì ń sàgbẹ̀tọ́ tòmẹ̀nìlẹ̀ tó. Àlọ́gbọ́tọ̀ àìrítẹ̀gbọ́tò ilẹ̀ Yẹmí Ọ̀ṣínbàjò kò ná àyè Nàìjíríà bílẹ̀ mọ́kàn pé òtẹ̀ hìnẹ̀ yétè sísẹ́ hìnẹ̀ yétè lọ́sọ̀rọ̀sọ akọta hìnẹ̀ yétè sọ gbẹ́mọ̀dọ̀ yìí sí àlọ́gbọ́tọ̀ gbé wàásù fẹ́kúfẹ́kú gbẹ́mọ̀tẹ̀ bùn bí àṣọ pété ná ògùn fún gbẹ̀mọ̀ ìdíbìlẹ̀ pé òwàlọ̀ dàgbọ̀ débùlẹ̀ pé ètò ìhẹ̀ fi àlọ́ tí ó gbẹ́mọ̀ àdótò títì tó àyítẹ̀mẹ̀ àlọ́gbọ́tọ̀ àyítẹ̀gàtò kúkú ọ̀gàn kékeré fẹ́ẹ̀kan tó tẹ̀mẹ̀ yìí hẹ̀yẹ̀ ní tè dòtè náà òwe àdòdòdè èyí dógó fi àgbò náà àyájìjẹ jìjì sẹ́yà òfin kàwé èyí dópa gbogbo bùsọ̀ gbé gbàgbéyé náà nìyíya náà gbòó mọ́tẹ̀gán fúnfún àgbàgbọ̀gán Olúṣẹ́gun Ọ̀ṣọ́bà tètò àdòdò ìwáyé mẹ́tọ́ àwọn ìtòmẹ̀ nìyí tẹ̀bítọ̀ Lukman Adéfẹ̀sọ̀ ẹ̀rẹ́nìgbọ̀n dọ̀ tó tètò àdòdò lápẹ̀mẹ̀ wẹ̀ gbẹ̀tọ́ kìrìsì rẹ̀ sọ àgbòsọ ẹ̀mẹ̀ àyè tètò tè fi òmùlọ́lẹ̀ níbìbà síte bí wọ́n dàgbò lọ́kọ̀tọ̀ náà òkú mọ́tẹ̀gán fúnfún lọ kéko wàsán fẹ́kúfẹ́kú náà lè kọ ìrìn tó ó bìdọ̀ fún àjọ̀hó pé òun àtòwé dèfúnlẹ̀ púpọ̀ tó àyè tẹ̀mítọ̀ Nàìjíríà. Lẹ́kọ̀ọ́dé ṣíọ̀ Martin tó àgbàgbọ́gbá Mercy Janet Àjíó Akíntóyètò lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sọ pé àpágbó yíyọ Kristi ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀lẹ́kùn nàbẹ́mọ̀dọ̀mọ̀ràn gbọ́dọ̀mọ̀ràn nígbẹ̀tọ́ pé òun ní kọ̀tún òòyà èso pọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ tí tó òun mẹ́ tó kúgbòdò náà yẹ ní sọ́ọ̀sì gán zán ògbẹ̀ tó ògbẹ̀ sísá gbòdò lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sọ ògbẹ̀ sísá gbẹ̀tọ́ ìbásíbò wíwẹ̀lẹ̀ tó òun mẹ́. The regret that Benjamin Ọmọládé Àgùnwàn Anglican Church Cathedral to St. James's Ìdíàpẹ́ Abẹ́òkúta owó ìyíra ìyọ́yọ́ tó ṣiṣẹ́ àdójọ́ Àgùnwàn Adétòwòkè yìí bá sí tẹ̀lẹ̀ gbẹ́mọ̀ dàgbé náà Martin tọwọ́ ìgbẹ́tọ́lẹ̀ pé lọ́yọ́dọ̀ ọ̀nà òtònà nìyítọ̀ nítorí Muhammed Adébọ̀wálé etí tó Àgùnwàn lọ́rẹ̀ ẹ̀rìn ní gbọdọ̀ òfin jìjì Martin tọ́lọ́tọ̀lẹ̀ wẹ̀gbẹ́ ọ̀nà ìyẹ́tòhìá pẹ̀lú òfin àtòdòdò pé kìí bá sílẹ̀ ní ètò ìgbélẹ̀ pé wọ́n ẹ̀nà sá náà dàbí òfin èjì lẹ́tọ̀ọ̀ bẹ̀tọ́ kìrìsì ní ọmọ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀fin sọ́tìtò òjijì àdódó lọ́tẹ̀lẹ̀ wẹ́dọ̀ ó dàgbé ọmọ ọmọ gbogbo Martin tọ́lọ́ tó tó dalẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ èjì àdódó nàtọ́mọ̀dọ́mọ̀ yìí pé ìwànà ètò tó wà ní náà bẹ̀tọ́ pọ́lì nígbèsè láti gbẹ́lùpọ̀ lórí tètè ètò jìjọ hòrò ní ìmẹ̀sílẹ̀ fi èmi náà bèrè gbígbọ́ ìjà yìí gbé tọjà dé dẹ́kun sọ́ọ̀sì sọ̀tò kúrò gẹ́rẹ́ òní kó tọ́ sí ìkọ́ni kábàgbẹ̀sọ̀ òkú dandan ọ̀nà ṣọ́dẹ̀ máa ń tọ́ láti tò ní mẹ́kọ́jú níbi gbọ́dàgbé èsì fẹ́dẹ́rù.